Hello and welcome back to my channel HiralsWorld. Today we are going to talk about a new PR program where there is no Canadian work experience required and you can come to Canada and directly get a PR. No work permit, no LMIA, nothing. Just direct PR. So without further ado, let's dive into this video. But before that, if you're landing on this page for the first time, hi, I'm Hiral Sejpal. I make videos about working abroad, studying abroad, and I live in Canada, so you'll be also finding a lot of Canada vlogs on this channel. Now first, let's understand what this program is. So this program's name is called Canada Caregiver Pilot Program, and as you can say from the name that it's a pilot program, and that's why government has done a great job of announcing it. Now if you are working or kind of following news about Canada immigration, then you would know that our immigration minister Mr. Mark Miller has done quite a bit of deal about making a lot of changes in the PGWP process as well as in study permit process and a lot more. But amidst all of this, there is also some good news because Canada is reassessing its immigrants and looking at what is it that's more needed in Canada to improve the quality of life of residents. So you should actually still consider Canada because it is making some positive changes. So let's begin with what is the eligibility criteria, how you can stand out with the application, when our application is going to open, and much more. Alright, so let's talk about the eligibility criteria. So the first eligibility criteria is you must have a IELTS or any language score of CLB minimum 4. And CLB minimum 4 means IELTS somewhere around 4.5 to 5 band. Even less is also considered. So I'm just going to put the table over here in terms of CLB 4. How much band score should you be getting in CELPIP or in IELTS? The second criteria is that you should have equivalent of high school education. So high school means if you're applying from India or from some developing countries, then you should have somewhere around 10 plus 2. That means up to around 12th grade of education. And how do you prove this? So you have to get something called as education credential assessments done. There are about 2 bodies that do this, and I would recommend that if you are planning to go abroad, then perhaps it's best to get it done now, just so that you are able to prove that you have up to 12th standard of education. The third criteria is that you should have up to 6 months of relevant work experience. It can be in any country. It does not have to be a Canadian experience. Earlier, this experience was 12 months. So know that this program is a pilot program, but there were some similar programs that existed in Canada before. For example, it was called as like Home Child Support Caregiver Program or Home Support Professional Program and things like that. Now, all of it is combined into this one pilot program, which is Caregivers Program. And that's why the 12 months work experience criteria is reduced to only up to 6 months. Now, this 6 months can be in the form of like you taking care of your elderly people at home, or you must have given like service to some other older people, or maybe like nanny working with kids. That is all considered okay. So make sure that you are looking at how to get that relevant work experience certificate from your country. And lastly, the last eligible criteria is that you have to find a family in Canada who is able to call you here as a caregiver. So let's suppose if you have your distant aunt, right, whose mom is getting older, and that mom is probably seeing a doctor here and needs some sort of home care support. Then in that case, that mom can give you a letter saying that they want you to come here and take care of them. And that's how you can get this letter and you can apply for this home support caregiver program. I know that it sounds very complicated, but trust me, if you make the right connections, then you will be able to find somebody who can take care, who needs care, because about 25% of Canadian population is aging. And it's not that only the population here, right? It's like people who are coming here on their work permit, who are coming here on PR, who are coming here as students and then becoming citizens like me. They also have their parents and they would love to call their parents, because in Canada, the education is free until 12th grade. And also in Canada, medical is free, right? So of course, the first thing that we do is we would want our parents to get the good healthcare service, and that's why we would call call them here. An entire healthcare service is completely free. So that's why there is more aging population. So the demand is higher and the supply is lower. And to combat this issue, Canadian government has announced that they want caregivers, because the more caregivers are there, the better quality of life of these older people. And then that's what Canada government wants to prove, that they value their people. Now let's talk about how you can stand out with your application, right? Now this is a pilot program announcement. So that means that the applications have not opened yet. But you would usually know that once the applications open, it just gets filled in a blink of an eye. So that's why you have to be ready. So what do you have to do? First thing that you have to do is get your education credential assessments done. Then you have to give your test right now, right? Like just prepare for IELTS and give it right now and get CLB4. And lastly, you have to be ready with all the documents. And what all documents do you need? Of course, first is work experience letter. That is that you have worked as a caregiver with somebody. You need your language scores result. You need your education credential assessment. And something else that you need is probably police certificate. Also, if there is any other country where you have lived more than 6 months, then you need police clearance certificate from each of that country. If you don't know how to do it, then please go right now on Google and search police clearance certificate for your country. So let's say if you live in Malaysia, police clearance certificate for Malaysia. If you live in India, police clearance certificate in India, and things like that. One last thing that you need to know is caregivers will be allowed to work for the organizations that provide temporary or part-time care for semi-independent individuals or those recovering from injury or an illness. So let's say if a family is calling you here, right, because their mom was ill, and then of course you're taking care of them. After that service is done, you can still remain in Canada because of course you're applying for PR right away and you are getting PR right away. And then you start to work with some semi-independent people who need some sort of care. So your job is still guaranteed. And this is a kind of a job where you are bound to have more demand. So of course you will never go jobless. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. As and when the applications come out, I will be covering a lot more about it. So make sure that you hit that bell button, and thank you so much for watching. I hope that your onward journey of coming to Canada is successful. See you next time. Bye.